guys, welcome to WILDsides. Today we're going to be learning how to make a terrarium. So let's get right to it. So basically what a terrarium is a contained little ecosystem consisting of land and plants and little bugs if you want to, and sometimes even animals if it's really big. But first you're gonna need your atmosphere or your container. So we've got an airtight jar right here that will do just the job. And I've decided that our terrarium for today is going to consist of the beach. So first we're gonna start looking around for things to go inside of our terrarium. So let's get a move on. We're just going to take this little baggie that is dedicated to collecting sand and put some dry sand in there. And this is going to be the little layer on the bottom that allows the water to soak through and then get absorbed by the plants again, so that the soil does not become stagnant and get all gross. And next we're gonna need a layer with some nutrients. Now in the case of these beach plants, all these guys seem to be growing in this black wet sand. And I'm guessing it's got some nutrients because they seem to be surviving and it's got some moisture. So we'll go ahead and collect that. An alternative would be soil if you want to use plants that grow mainly in soil. And next we're going to be collecting plants. Now, depending on the size of your terrarium, you're gonna want according sizes of plants. So we're going to just get a little chunk of moss here and we will root that to something. And then we're gonna just look around for some plants that will grow in the right type of soil that can fit inside of our terrarium. So we'll do just that. Now, when you have located your plant, you want to make sure to dig all the way down and get as much of the root system out as possible, because that is the lifeline of your plant. If you cut it too short, your plant will just die. Alrighty. And I'm just gonna pop these plants into the nutrient layer bag, and that will help contain the moisture so that the plants don't get dried out while I'm looking for decor. And I think some little pieces of driftwood, just like this one, will do perfectly for a beach terrarium. So we'll collect a few of those. We don't have to use them all, but we can always put them back. And just think about what other stuff you find on the beach, like seaweed or little shells or whatever. Personalize it, make it yours. And beaches all over the place will be a little bit different, so you can make customized ones per beach. But just look around along the tide, wherever. But I do not recommend jellyfish. And now time for the fun part, building the terrarium. Now, if you want to, you can also add insects. I think I will be doing that. And that will be done after you put it together, because you don't want insects sitting in a Ziploc bag, hopping around. You want to put them in when their home is ready. So, first you're just going to pop it up. If you want to, just wipe off the glass, make sure it's nice and clean, because once you got the stuff in there, it's kind of hard to clean the inside. Now we are going to add our first layer, which is just going to be plain sand. Just pour that on in. And once you got that, you'll just flatten it out. And then next we're going to add our nutrients layer. So we'll pop out the plants real quick, set them aside. So we're just going to take some clumps of that. Careful not to get it on the glass, because it will get it all dirty. Just pack that in. And you're just gonna make a pretty hefty layer, enough for your plants to take root in. But just be sure not to pack it down too much, because that will make the soil less permeable and that can kill the plants. And now we're just going to add the plants. This can be done with a pair of tweezers or your fingers, whichever. Tweezers make it a little bit easier, but when you're out in the field like this, you might not have tweezers. So we're gonna make sure that the roots get buried deep into the soil, and you're just going to push it down and bury them up. And this is the point when you want to do any priming and prepping to the plant. So if there's a dead leaf, go ahead and pull it off to make it look nice. And then we will take our little decorations, a little bit of seaweed to add a beachy feeling. our little pieces of driftwood here. And then lastly, if you want to, at least for this situation, you can add a little bit of dry sand to just make it look more like a beach. Just make sure nothing gets covered up too much. Blow the sand off the leaves. And now we have our beach terrarium established. Now time to add the residents. You know, not all creatures are going to survive very well in a terrarium. Not all plants are going to survive very well. It's just a kind of a live and learn type situation. But one insect that I know does really well are known by many names. They're isopods, wood lice, roly-polies, what I usually call them, armadillo bugs, and these little guys are detritivores, which means they break down detritus. And that's just part of the natural ecosystem process. So here's a little isopod, and we will get looking for some more beach bugs like this guy. And for those of you wondering, that is Astoria, Oregon right back there, home of the Goonies. So now I'm gonna go ahead and introduce my little species. I got the wood lice in there, I got a little beetle, and the good thing about these guys is they're kind of like a cleanup crew with decomposers and detritivores. When plants die, they'll kind of process the nutrients through themselves by eating it and then making the soil more fertile to produce more plants in the future. So it kind of is self-sustaining. And now your little critters will go ahead and make themselves at home, and we just want to pop the lid on and make sure you got a watertight and airtight jar, because that will keep the water vapor from the transpiration of the plants inside so that it can rain down on them like through condensation, and they can drink it back up again and just goes around the water cycle. And make sure to put it in a windowsill or somewhere that will get some sunlight during the day so that the plants can photosynthesize. And who knows, you might even find little creatures as time goes on, whether there's eggs or seeds in the soil, and things will pop up, and it's cool just to check it out every day and see what's inside. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed learning how to make a terrarium. My name's Alec, stay wild, and I'll see you next time!